We're here with Bongani Khulu that I've known for quite some time. Welcome to the podcast.
Always ask yourself, am I in the right market, in the right business? And most importantly, am I the right person to take this business ahead?
Okay.
And I think as entrepreneurs, when we continue to have the honest conversation with ourselves, you'll either morph or you'll then realize it's time for you to move on.
You know, as entrepreneurs, yes, we're able to see gaps. We're able to put passion and energy to grow, and to understand that if we are not spending a lot of time also just to grow ourselves and grow the leader for the business, is also to understand that there are points where it can come to that conversation to realize I may not be the right person to take this forward, to grow to the scale that it needs to be, and then, you know, being open to looking around for different partners who can be able to take that much further. Welcome to another episode of Monetise Your Business podcast in partnership with FMB. I'm your host today, Papa Biz. I'm so glad for the conversation that I'm going to be having with my good friend Bongani. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. But before getting in, normally I like to just share a thought that I've just been having for the entrepreneurs throughout the week. And one element that came to mind, I've actually got a friend who owns a restaurant in Mainland when we used to have a store in Mainland those years. And it's so funny how often I found that I would actually learn quite a lot from people who are in businesses outside of our own. And one thing, I remember the first time we went to that restaurant, Hetty and I, we sat, we had a good meal and everything. The staff was fine. The restaurant next to them was empty, but this restaurant was quite busy. And before we were getting ready to leave, the manager came to us because he had been asking us different questions, finding out about us. And I just thought, okay, nice, good people skills. But just before we were getting ready to leave, he comes to us and he says, hey, can I offer you guys another round of drinks on me? And we were just like, whoa, okay. So yeah, we said, yeah, sure. I mean, no problem. And, you know, it really stuck with us. Not knowing, I mean, we always ended up going back then. We got to know the owner quite well. And I asked him, hey, listen, what's that about? And he said, no, my team is trained. It's also from me as well, where, you know, we like to pick up different individuals here and the type of clientele that we want here. And when we see that type of clientele, we make sure that we offer them another round of drinks.
Yeah.
And that's our investment to making sure that you come back here. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful. That's so powerful because his restaurant was always full. And the restaurant next door to them, they closed. They've had actually 3 restaurants open and close, open and close. And his restaurant is still there pumping. And it just reminded me in terms of, for us as entrepreneurs, sometimes where can we find opportunity to give? And where could we find opportunity to give in an unexpected manner, especially with clientele that we've identified? That's a clientele that we want to keep and we want to keep coming back to us. And so it was just something that I was thinking about that I thought I'd share with the community. But yes, Bongani, I'm glad that you could be here with Bongani Khulu that I've known for quite some time. Of course, yourself, quite a seasoned corporate exec, but now branching out to launching, you know, beyond capital stewardship. But first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Papa, and thanks to your listeners. And I'm not sure whether we're watching. It's a podcast. Yes.
Yes. No, cool, man. So, I mean, before we get into where you are currently, I mean, maybe just for the viewers, if you can let us know, you know, about your background, you know, where you're from, we can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah. So Bongani is township boy, hybrid. I mean, I think in the 90s, you had that first generation of township boys moving to suburbia, going to model schools. So I was that guy, you know. So
which township?
Kagiso,
Okay.
just outside of Soweto, so west of Joburg. Then also grew up around the Roodepoort area. You know, so if you go Roodekrans all the way down to Portview, so sort of that area. But I mean, I think what the 90s sort of taught us was how to adapt to different environments. You know, so when you're in the township, you're a Kasi boy. When you are in suburbia, you're interacting with white kids and multiracial schools, and you learn a certain way,
Yeah.
right? And you sort of become a chameleon over time. We met in 2003
Yeah.
at Varsity.
Yeah. Pretoria University.
We
That's
studied
right.
together.
Yeah.
He was still courting Hetty at the time.
Courting. I mean, you know how it is, man.
He was still courting Hetty at the time. And yeah, I lectured at the University of Pretoria. Papa will tell you. Sort of was in res. We actually were in the same res.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I played a bit of rugby. Was not really keen on taking it professionally, but it was fantastic, right? So then joined banking. So I was the actuary who never wanted to go into insurance. So took the banking route. Worked for First Rand. And also worked for FNB, worked for ABSA, worked for Standard Bank, and towards the end of my career, I worked in insurance, right? In Liberty, which got acquired by Standard Bank. So my background is financial services completely. I've done retail, private, wealth management, asset management, insurance at senior levels in South Africa, in Botswana, in Kenya, in Ghana, in Nigeria, and in Mauritius, right? So not only just turning around businesses, growing businesses, but also launching new businesses.
Sure.
And after over 20 years of just doing that, you know, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to call it purpose. I'm going to call it what you were designed for, right? I mean, I think from the beginning, one of the things I've always known is I don't like status quo.
Yeah.
And I like to see things change, right? So, and I think over the past 3-4 years, there was that voice that was getting louder and louder and louder that says, you know a lot about how systems actually operate. And there's a big gap in the market. And there's huge opportunities and the continent has to grow. So other people either will do it from within large organizations and other people have to be disruptors, you know. So I've chosen that route. Founded Beyond Capital Stewardship.
Yeah.
We are an early stage investment firm. We look at platform businesses that ultimately the big goal is lowering the barrier to entry.
Sure.
You know, so either you remove it completely or you lower that barrier to entry. But also the one big thing that we believe in is doing good. So it's basically doing well by doing good.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the day is a lot of companies just want to do good.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to do it. Right? So we are linking the doing well part, which is our financial matrices, to doing good, which is actually leaving the world in a much better state than we found it. Yeah. So that's me. And yeah, and I have a very blended family. So I've got a 19-year-old at Varsity doing a double major in commerce and law.
Sure.
And I've got a 13-year-old grade 7. And I've got a 1-year-old. So
Yes.
so yeah, so you have to understand. I mean, I'm also dealing different generations at the same time. Yeah.
Now, I want to check because, you know, I'll be away, but just in terms of the viewers, what drove you in the direction in terms of studying mathematics, actuarial? You know, I remember for myself, you know, back in the day when we were discussing even at home,
Yeah.
you know, my father was a maths teacher and I was trying to find out what things were good for mathematics. And then there was nobody in my school who had done actuarial science. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll do that. And that was basically it. And then I got into it and I thought, oh no, this is horrible. But what is your experience? How did you?
Sure. So my one was interesting. The only thing I was interested in doing was math.
Okay.
That was the only thing I was interested in. I mean, I had no desire for any of the other subjects, especially like the ones that require comprehension, right? I mean, so I hated English. I hated biology.
Sure.
I liked things where I could calculate. So if you gave me a calculator, you gave me numbers, I was happy. And towards grade 11, I started asking, you know, I know everyone was telling me about accounting. And the more I researched accounting, then there was tax, there was
Yes.
auditing.
Yes.
Then, fortunately, one of my brother's friends was studying. I got to borrow one of his books. And I was like, there's just too many words here. But I mean, I'm going to get bored and I don't like this, right? And yeah, so grade 12, when I started doing my research, Actually, it was interesting how the University of Pretoria had positioned it. They called it actuarial and financial math.
Yes, they did.
Right? So
They
it was
did
not
that
actuarial
exactly.
science. And I can tell you, if they had said to me it was actuarial science, I probably would have done something else. Right? I mean, the two options was doing pure mathematics or actuarial and financial math. And when I asked around, they're like, yeah, no, you get to apply yourself. And I was like, great. So I don't get to be a professor. I get to go work in corporate.
Yeah.
So that's how I stumbled onto it. Did I know anything about actuarial science? No.
Especially like as black kids, I mean, we don't know much about it at all. There's nobody that we can really go to from the family that's anywhere related to it. But then now, in terms of, I mean, the way that I got to witness, I mean, your journey, especially within corporate, I mean, it's pretty much star player, star boy. And moving along the corporate scene, making such an impact, especially in different uh, organizations. How did you get to going from there to now becoming founding this Beyond Capital Stewardship? What inspired? At what point did you realize? I let me go for this.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my journey probably goes back 15, 16 years ago.
Okay.
I think one of the things that I'll say is in my career, I've been fortunate to be surrounded by very good people.
Okay.
Right. So I've worked for, I think everyone knows him, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
When he was CEO of FNB.
Sure.
Worked for Lorato in Botswana.
Okay.
She used to be the CEO of FNB and now runs a dairy business. I've worked around Sizwe Ngasana.
Sure.
I've worked for Nomkita directly. I've worked for David Monroe. So when you're surrounded by that level of excellence and thought leadership and people who actually believe in this country, and I think the one common question that the one commonality in everyone that they used to say about me is you like disrupting things. I mean, I think Lorato is the first one who asked me directly, why are you not in entrepreneurship? Right. And this was 2015. And
Sure.
you get to ignore that thought, right? Because we've been framed in the past to say you go to school, you do well, you get into a career, you get promoted, and over time, you know, you'll make it to the C-suite.
Yeah.
I mean, by 28, I was in the CEO's office,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And I was literally chief of staff to Michael Jordan.
Sure.
I did not know half the things that we were doing. I was just winging it, you know. So you get there, you land by observing. But I think the one thing that teaches you is how to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Not an entrepreneur outside, to be an entrepreneur inside of the organization. You become very resourceful. And very quickly you pick out what works, what doesn't work, what processes needs to be streamlined, and where there is opportunity. And when you do that over and over and over and over again, it becomes a muscle, a skill that you start honing. And I think what COVID did for me, right? I joined Liberty Group in the height of COVID.
Sure.
I think all of you guys were thinking, you are crazy, dude. Why are you leaving ABSA? I mean, I was the exec for strategy and propositions at ABSA. And literally almost everyone was saying, dude, we don't know whether we're going to be alive tomorrow or not.
That was the thinking.
Right? And you are making big changes. But the one thing that for me, I've always believed in is when the leader inspires you and there's clarity in their thought as to where they want to take an organization, then I want to latch onto it.
Okay.
Right. So that for me was the big thing. Whether there was certainty in my career or not, it did not matter. But for me is there was purpose, there was clarity, and the one big thing was you could actually change people's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I then pivoted. The pivot to entrepreneurship, I mean, I got the opportunity to go to Harvard. And whilst I was there, I think that's where clarity came. Right?
Okay.
I mean, you run for so long in your career without taking a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
December is not a break. Whenever people say I'm taking a break, it's not a break. So when I was in Harvard, it was a period where you were surrounded by other leaders across the globe.
These are global leaders now.
Global leaders, right? And a lot of them are C-suite.
Okay.
Either C-suite or C-suite -1.
Okay.
And almost all of them, they are you can call it at an inflection point in their career.
Yeah.
They're either going to continue and grow and be global CEOs,
Yeah.
or they're going to branch and become entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
right? And I think it was one of the classes. So he's an Indian professor, Prof. Kesh.
Okay.
He was teaching marketing strategy and sort of how markets operate, right? And his whole thing was, we're not just grooming leaders. We're grooming leaders who are going to change the world.
Sure.
And when he said it, I think for me in that class, it was that moment that said, okay, fantastic. You were here. You can have another 20 years and you'll probably end up as a CEO of any of the big corporates. Then what?
And then what?
Then what? Right? And I think that then what, I could not ignore it. It became louder and louder and louder and louder. And when I came back into the country, the one thing that struck me was there's a big gap between SMEs, funding, and stewardship, right?
Okay.
So how do you help SMEs grow? I mean, we always hear about a 80 to 90% failure rate of SMEs.
Yeah.
They fail for a multitude of reasons, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not even going to say I'm going to solve the whole problem. But for me, what is clear is, even if my one droplet in this huge ocean, in this huge river, if it just widens it by just half a centimeter, I've done my job. Because what it then means is, into pathways where water would have never been, I get to influence, right? So that conversation with an entrepreneur who's in year 4, they're struggling to scale their businesses, struggling to stabilize their contracts. And then you have conversations that a career in corporate and the structures and understanding the processes in corporate, that an entrepreneur who's never had that opportunity does not even think about that.
Doesn't even think about it.
And then you have conversations around, what's your proposition mode? What's your strategy? How do you differentiate between revenue and cash flow? And like simple conversations. And then you can see the light come back in someone's eye. And then at the end, when we like the business and then we decide we're going to invest into this, and we then say it's catalytic capital. We're going to invest.
What is catalytic capital? Because especially for the viewers.
So catalytic capital for us is growth. So it's growth. It's capital for you to grow. So we're an equity investment firm. We don't do debt. I mean, I think the one thing that I'm clear on is skin in the game, long game. I mean, we're not looking at 3 to 5 year horizons. I mean, we understand how venture capital operates on the African continent. We have very fragmented markets in South Africa and across the continent. Our markets are fragmented. And what it then means is growth requires a bit more engineering in order for you to grow. It's not like the cycles in the US where they say, I'm going to have a Silicon Valley business. In 5 to 7 years' time, I'm ready for IPO.
Okay.
That is not Africa. Africa is, I'm going to build something in South Africa. If it works in South Africa, you might find that when I get to Kenya, there's different legislation, there's different requirements, or alternatively, there's a different shareholding structure that I need to have. There's different capabilities and all of those things. So you're not operating in a one union continent. It is multitudes of different markets that you do. And that in itself is what sometimes slows the growth.
Okay.
But also even our markets are fragmented, right? I mean, we are very innovative as a continent.
Yes.
And in our innovativeness, one of the things that we've done is we've bypassed some of the natural solutions that you find in Europe, in the US.
Okay.
Right? I mean, payment. I mean, so if you think of wallets in Kenya,
Okay.
it was out of necessity. Because the one thing that the Kenyans realized is, if you're going to solve financial inclusion, building branches and far outlying and sort of going the traditional banking route,
it's too expensive.
It's too expensive. And
it's going to take too long.
Thank you. Right. So how do you do it? The one asset that everyone has is a phone.
Mm.
Doesn't matter what level of complexity that phone has. Everyone has a phone. And if you use that as a access mechanism, you can do amazing things, right? And the same thing I'm now seeing happen across, whether it's agri, whether it's health, whether it's biotech, whether it's auto tech. I mean, I think the last 10 years, let's say the last 15 years,
Yeah.
in financial services, there's been an obsession around payments. And we're seeing now in the last 3-4 years, there's been a pivot towards literally everyone focusing on SMEs, right? So SMEs and risk management are like the next big obsession that everyone is investing in. But for us, it's not just about a quick buck.
Okay.
It is about leaving the world in a better place and making sure that it is sustainable over time.
Okay. I want to check. I mean, for those listening. So when you are talking about equity as opposed to debt, I mean, how I would understand it then is that you're looking for businesses that you can basically, if you want to put money into the businesses, you're taking a stake in the business as opposed to a loan.
Yeah, so that's exactly it, right? So when we come in, we look at it and say, we think this is a business that has growth potential, it's got repeatability, the market is ripe for it. We like the leader. So I'm also, at some point, I'll touch about the leader, right?
Okay.
I mean, right jockey in a difficult market, they can always make it work, right?
Okay.
And there's traits that I find in right leaders that actually make it easier for us to actually move forward. But I mean, if you step back out of that, for us, when we say equity, it means we are in this with you for the long term, right? Debt says to you, we're going to give you a loan, and you have to pay us back in 3 years' time. You have to pay us back in 5 years' time.
Yes.
But we know that in 3 years' time, a lot of entrepreneurs are still struggling with cash flow.
Yeah.
So instead of them focusing and reinvesting that money on growth, they now have to continue to pay us back. Geez, imagine that.
Sure.
Right. So you're getting 100,000 Rand, and then now you have to pay me back 10,000 Rand out of that. That's 10,000 Rand that could have gone to hiring the next resource that is going to do business development.
Salaries.
That's salaries.
Staff,
that is
rents,
capabilities.
products.
Right? So it's stuff like that ultimately, when we say catalytic, for us, it is about long game. There are some investments in some niche areas where we've said our catalytic approach is we want you to do good. We will give you the funding. If you hit the following milestones, we will then convert it into a forgivable loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what type of businesses or industries do you guys look into that you've seen and thought, okay, this sort of makes sense? Or is it more where you look at the jockey, the person running the business?
So, I mean, at first, I thought we were going to have a preference to a certain market.
Okay.
Right? I think our framework is so linked to ESG.
Okay.
So, I mean, we actually do believe in the ESG goals and the sustainable development goals.
Okay.
And we've tried to align a bit of our methodology around that.
Okay.
The big thing for us is, I mean, so let me start by saying the ones that we actually don't touch. I don't touch mining.
Okay.
I get a lot of people in mining coming to knock who don't touch it.
Okay.
We don't have this in-house skills that understand the value chains.
Sure.
So as a result, we walk away from it.
Okay, no problem.
But then that opens the door for everyone else. I mean, we've invested in an asset management business.
Okay.
I mean, it's Black female led.
Sure.
They were voted by 22/7 last year as the best asset manager in the sub 10 billion rands category.
Sure. That's brilliant.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, they achieved that in, let's say, 4 years, 3.5, 4 years.
Sheesh, that's commendable. That's beyond.
Yeah. Like stellar management team. But I mean, and I'll give you a few examples, and then at the end, I'll thread why we chose to go.
Yeah, you can give a few examples, because then the viewers, as they listen, they start to have an idea. Okay, these type of
Yeah. So we then also looked at a insurtech capability. I mean, young black guy, early 30s.
InsurTech, that's technology for the insurance space.
Yeah, so
Okay.
technology for the insurance space, young black guy who built a policy administration system. He built a client servicing suite and an operational stack.
Sure.
Right, so that's what he had built. He had spent time in big insurance.
Okay.
So you look at skill set and say, okay, is it something that he can do? But one of the things that I loved about what he was doing, he was saying he can see a lot of missed growth when it comes to micro insurers
Okay.
and burial societies and funeral parlors in the townships.
Especially in the townships, yeah.
Right. So as soon as he said that, then something then says, okay, yes, there's a market there, but here is someone who's saying, I've built a really, really good platform.
Yes.
But the right fit for it is in these spaces,
Okay.
and we can scale it, right?
Okay.
So we've invested in that. We've also invested. I mean, let me speak about one of the interesting ones, a biotech firm,
Okay.
right? And I mean, so biotech in Africa is not really that big. We had an opportunity to actually meet people who were in Europe, but one of the things that they were focusing on is dementia, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's.
So is this using technology to
No.
aid in those types of... Okay.
So literally scientists.
Okay.
So scientists who basically have looked at Alzheimer's research for the past, let's say 40 years, 50 years. And I mean, there's billions of dollars globally that have gone into Alzheimer's research.
Okay.
And one of the things that they're saying is it's fantastic to have a linear approach to medicine, but the brain is a very complex mechanism, right? And I think for me, the thesis that I liked was as the world becomes healthier, as good health care becomes readily available to everyone else, our bodies are going to live to probably 100, 150 years. I mean,
Sure.
we're both actuaries,
Yeah.
and we've looked at those we've looked at those models, and we know that the first cohort of people to live to 120 to 150 years are currently alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you see it in Japan. The average age of older people.
You can see it, especially the Asian, Japan, yeah.
There you go. So it is, and Africa is the next wave.
Okay.
Right. So, and what you'll find is all of us are now healthier. We eat healthier. We train. We do everything for our vessel. But the one thing that ultimately fails is your brain. Okay. So imagine you are now 90. You are fit as a fiddle. Your body, everything, you can live to 150. But your mind is absent. Your brain is gone.
Gone.
Right. So the reason why we liked that firm was that approach that says actually it's one thing to have physical health. Mental health is also going to be very important. The thread in these businesses that I'm talking about is strong leadership.
Okay.
Right. So people who understand the market, who understand where opportunity lies.
Okay.
People with track record. Okay. Right. I mean, the InsurTech guy, I can say yes, track record was not there, but great idea.
Okay.
Showing a bit of traction in terms of implementation. But I mean, for us, it's about repeatability, right? So is this model just a flash in the pan, or does it have repeatability? And I think it applies to so many SMEs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So whether you are in a manufacturing SME, or whether you are doing prosthetics, or whether you are in agro processing, or whether you're just selling, it's repeatability is important.
Okay.
Right, because what repeatability gives me as an investor, it gives me a bit of risk management, because what it then says is you got secure contracts, you understand how your revenue model and the sustainability that is starting to build. That comes through. And then I think for me, the second thing is you either come from the industry that you're trying to work in, or you've got a deep, keen interest in that industry.
Okay.
Right. So there's a few entities that I've walked away and I told the team to say, guys, I like the investment story, but I can tell you, I don't think there's sustainability here in 2 years' time.
I think that's an important part, which is what are you finding that sometimes entrepreneurs miss in terms of as they're looking for funding, and now they're coming, the type of things that type of companies that you've walked away from and not entertained. What are some of the things that you've seen that entrepreneurs need to be aware of?
So I'm going to put on my banker hat, right? So as an entrepreneur, you need to think like a banker. What if I were to walk into a bank, what would a bank be looking for in order for them to give me money?
Okay.
I don't know you. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't know you from a bar of soap. I don't trust you. So how do you build trust?
Okay.
And in pure financial services or in banking terms, there's certain things that are required. I need to understand your financials. So there needs to be clarity in your financials.
Yes.
Don't overestimate, because you think if you're overestimating, you are telling me what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Give me the truth. I must not question your financials. I must not question your governance. I mean, you must be bankable and your business must be bankable.
Okay.
So if you start there, you are doing a lot of the risk mitigation that a potential funder would be looking at a founder level. The second thing that we look at is repeatability, as I said to you. So can the business operate without you?
Sure.
And that's the big thing, right? So, I mean, we live in a world where we get sick, priorities change, and all of those things. If you were to be hit by a bus and be stuck in a hospital for 6 months, will your business survive?
Sure.
Is the business just on you? Are you the business? And I think businesses where the individual and the business cannot be separated are very risky.
Very risky. Okay.
Right. Because at the end of the day is when the individual goes through life, I'm going to call it life. When the individual goes through life, the business suffers. So what we look at is, do you have set processes? Do you have, so if you go away, can the contracts, the manufacturing, can the distribution still happen?
Can it still remain?
Can it still remain? And you are out of the business for 4 weeks and you are not stuck on your phone.
Sure.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to ask themselves that question, to say, am I the business, or is the business what drives me as an individual to every morning wake up and go and drive the business forward? I think that's also the other thing that we need to think of. And then the jockey is important.
Okay.
Right. The individual,
the person running and in charge of the business.
So
it's like they're thinking, or just who they are. What do you mean?
At the end of the day, Papa, is, and I'll probably say something that I said to Hetty months ago, is there's an interesting mix of entrepreneurs in South Africa.
Okay.
There's founder entrepreneurs.
Okay.
There's growth entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And there's manager entrepreneurs.
Okay.
There's entrepreneurs who have the most brilliant ideas.
Yes.
They can't manage people. They can't manage processes.
I've seen them.
They can't do anything.
I've seen them. Okay.
They're not useless. The country needs them. And as funders, we need those people, because those are the people that actually will come up with something that does not exist, or something that exists and they make it that much better.
Yes.
You need them. But the maturity you need as an entrepreneur is then to say, I don't have the people skills. I can innovate this thing, but I'm going to kill it as an individual, because this is not who I am. And some of the times when we find those kind of entrepreneurs, the conversation we have is, you can stay in the management team, but let's get you someone who's strong in growth, or strong in people skills, strong in processes and regulatory.
Sure, that must be a tough conversation, because it's not everybody who can get to that realization that, hey, I can't. Yeah. This with my baby, I can't.
That's it, right? And but you'd be amazed that at times the right entrepreneurs, they do realize that. Okay. So the entrepreneur will say, I've grown this thing to this point where I am. I've hit a brick wall.
Okay.
and I need to grow, and I know there's growth here, but I don't have the skills to do that, right?
Okay.
And then the conversation we'll have is, do you want to build the skills yourself? Others say no,
Okay.
because I've got another 4 or 5 ideas that I want to drive, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to that, is we can invest, bring in the right management team,
Okay.
and then grow with that management team. Keep the founder at a board level.
Okay. At a board level.
At
Okay.
a
So
board
they're
level.
still
They're still part of
involved.
the business. They're still part of the
Okay. They're
business.
still part of the business.
And that's important. And then there's times where they say, actually, I want to grow.
Okay.
I want to learn these skills. And then, I mean, I always ask them to say, which route would you like to take? Do you want us to bring someone who you can report to, and we give them a 5-year or a 3-year contract, and they're there for a specific phase of the business, and you learn from them?
Yeah.
Or do you want mentorship? Let's say you're an engineer,
Yeah.
but you're a junior engineer,
Yeah.
and when you were working there, you saw that there was something that was not gelling,
Yeah.
and then you say, I want to then branch off and innovate, build something, or go disrupt that piece
Okay. In that space.
in that space. It's a fantastic way to look at the world.
Okay.
But the big gap is sometimes you have not seen how the full value chain operates.
Yes. You've only seen a certain portion in terms of what you had exposure to.
Exactly, right? And growth now then says it's not just about downstream where you need to grow.
Yeah.
You might find that in order for your business to grow, is you need to find the right upstream partners.
Okay.
You need to understand how the commercial models work all the way upstream, so that you are not just churning, because I think that's what a lot of businesses do. The margins are so thin downstream that you just feel like you're just producing and producing and producing and producing. But the people who are actually making the money is the people upstream,
Yeah.
right?
And that will leave one exhausted and looking to find something else to do.
That's exactly it, right? So what we then tend to do in that conversation is to say, here's an opportunity for this business. We think the business will grow here.
Okay.
But maybe getting a mentor for you who sits further up in upstream in your specific sector is what is going to help you. So the stewardship part of our business is exactly that. It's not just about throwing money in the business, because I think that's what a lot of other VC firms do.
Yeah.
They just find the right businesses, put money. We roll up our sleeves.
Okay.
Right. So, and when we roll up our sleeves, is we try and match people with the right partners, but also we try and help with strategy, with propositions, wherever we can. I mean, and it's not necessarily that we're doing it ourselves. We know a whole network of people.
And that's
that
where network
ultimately-
becomes so important.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, no, cool. I mean, look, I mean, from what I've seen, especially as we looking to wrap things up on our side, it's actually been interesting because we going through a theme this month in terms of, as well, just AI for entrepreneurs. And I'm wondering, do you utilize AI in any of these spaces? In terms of the teams at all? Which type of AI do you guys use?
Yeah. So, I mean, depending on the entity that's there, right? It ranges from Claude to DeepSeek to ChatGPT.
Okay.
I think for me, it also depends on what is it that you're
How do you guys
solving
use
for.
Claude?
So, like, for example, Claude, for us, it's about operational resilience.
Okay.
Right. I mean, you can get to a point where you appoint 20 analysts. I mean, you've been in banking.
Yeah.
20 analysts to write code, to do analysis and all of those things.
Yeah.
Right. And basically people are there doing repeatable work.
Okay.
So where we use Claude for us is exactly stuff like that, right?
Okay.
This is process optimization. What are the trends that Claude can tell us that we can do? Then what we typically then have is maybe one junior analyst and a senior team that ultimately knows how to disseminate.
Okay.
And so assimilate and sort of analyze the data properly, right? So the AI is brilliant when it comes to that. I mean, I think also the kind of AI that we've looked at is how do you improve service?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
Sure.
human beings are human beings. Like, I think for me, don't be scared of AI. think of it in this in this lens. You need the best of technology
Yeah.
and the best of humanity.
Okay.
When you have both, then you've got a business that will grow, and at the end of the day, you've got differentiation.
Okay.
Right. So I think currently a lot of people are looking at AI and they're saying, sure, AI is going to destroy us.
Yes.
We don't believe in that. We're saying, let the bots do what the bots do well. Let them optimize the process and the processes. Let them make things quicker,
Yes.
and let the humans do the job of humanity,
Okay.
which is that gap between what the bots can do and what humans can
The
do.
non-repetitive work and the thinking and the strategy to be able to figure out.
No, but also the feeling work,
Okay.
right? I mean, let me take you back to where you started, your example when you opened the restaurant example. What the owner managed to do, he made you belong.
100%.
Okay, so that's the first thing he did. I mean, you were thinking this is a successful place. By him coming and having conversation with you, he made you belong. He made you he made you feel like you are part of this tribe.
Yeah.
You are seen, right? And the other thing that he did is he ensured that there's repeatability, because you then continue to come back.
Yeah.
So when you think of the world that we are in, right? I mean, I can say, I'm not going to say phygital, right? So you can say it is where the best of humanity and the best of technology collide. That's exactly that, right?
Sure.
So the technology will make sure that the right things get done efficiently,
Yes.
very quickly over time at cost-effective levels.
Okay.
And what the humans will do will make the humans feel like they're seen.
Okay.
And I think for me, as entrepreneurs, one of the things that we constantly have to think about is, how do I do that? Do I need 50 people? Or do I need 30 people who actually have more humanity but understand the tools that are going to give me differentiation?
Sure. No, 100%, man. No, thanks for that. And I think as we, looking to wrap up, I'm wondering, for an entrepreneur who's watching and listening to this, what bit of advice can you give, in terms of your story, but just as you got into experience, what type of advice can you give for them to encourage them?
Sure. That's a difficult one. I mean, when it comes to funding, think like a banker.
Okay.
Make yourself bankable. I think that's the first advice I'd give from that lens.
Okay.
The second one is, with a lot of entrepreneurs, is always ask yourself, am I in the right market, in the right business? And most importantly, am I the right am I the right person to take this business ahead?
Okay.
And I think as entrepreneurs, when we continue to have the honest conversation with ourselves, you'll either morph or you'll then realize it's time for me to move on.
Sure.
And I think sometimes when businesses fail, it is because of that. It's because the business required a different you, and you were just stuck in the you that started the business.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that the you that started the business is any less.
Okay.
And I think that's the advice I'd give to a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And as you say, surround yourself with a good network. Surround yourself with people that will always pour into you. Entrepreneurship is hard.
Yes.
It's lonely. And people who probably have walked the journey, and people, when they continue to pour into you, they will leave you inspired and motivated to keep going. So sometimes that's all you need.
Sure.
You just need someone who's just going to say to you, look up.
Sure. No, that's quite powerful, and thanks for sharing that. I think for me, when I'm looking through your story and what you've shared, I think one of my key takeouts similarly is just, understanding that, as entrepreneurs, yes, we're able to see gaps, we're able to put passion and energy to grow, and to understand that if we are not spending a lot of time also just to grow ourselves and grow the leader for the business, is also to understand that there are points where it can come to that conversation to realize, I may not be the right person to take this forward, to grow to the scale that it needs to be. And then, being open to look around for different partners who can be able to take that much further. And so it's just been so great to listen and learn in terms of how Beyond Capital stewardship is working and the impact that it's been having. So yes, thanks for having come through to come and share, just so that our viewers can also be able to be aware of what else is out there. Sometimes we share this at workshops, and sometimes they think that you guys are making these things up; these don't exist. But I'm glad that you're able to come through to share.
Thanks, Pop.
So yes, that then brings us to the end of another episode of the Monetize Your Business podcast. Just a reminder to please follow us on the social media to be able to find out where our next workshops will be as we're traveling nationwide to deliver workshops across where we can all be able to learn and grow our businesses together. Also, on our social media, you can see when we'll have our online masterclasses where we'll still be teaching and touching deeper on different elements within the entrepreneurial landscape so we can be able to grow and put in more jobs into the economy. As with it, just wanted to thank my guest again and my friend Bongani making the time to be able to be here with us. And that's it from us from the Monetize Your Business podcast, which we are still very proud to be in partnership with FNB. Cheers, guys.